Although I'll be quite frank, I feel like enough has happened. My brain can't handle it. And we finally got the Jimmy Butler news I suppose people were waiting for. They trade him to the Golden State Warriors. There's how it broke down. Miami gets Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker, Kyle Anderson, a protected top 10 first-round pick. The Warriors receive Jimmy Butler. All right, we'll start with Chandler. No, let's start with Lou. Lou, how you feeling about it? It finally went down.
I think this is a pretty even trade, right? I think the Warriors got a guy that can score in the half court. Obviously, we know Jimmy's resume. We know what he's capable of doing on the court. But somebody that's going to take pride in defending. If Draymond makes it to 1 p.m. Eastern today, you got two guys now that love to play defense. And like I said, you get a half-court scorer. You get somebody that can draw fouls, that's going to bring toughness, that's mentally tough when it comes to basketball. I thought it was great. And on top of that, the Warriors, they were able to keep Kuminga. He was also somebody that was in all of these trade talks, but also a big prospect, somebody that the Golden State Warriors really wanted to keep, really was one of those cornerstone pieces that was coming up in these deals. So not only having Jimmy, they were able to keep Kuminga. And on the flip side, Miami Heat, they get a couple of guys that are great role players that's going to give them something great. And Andrew Wiggins can benefit from the year that Tyler Hero's having and the style of play that the Miami Heat play. So I felt like both teams benefited from it. If I had to pick a winner out of the two, I would say Golden State, obviously because you're getting an all-star / superstar caliber player that you can add to Steph Curry. Both of those guys are in the later years of their career, so it'll be interesting to see just how much good basketball they'll get out of this trade.
Yeah, Chandler, you got notes? You looks like you got notes. What are you thinking?
It just says Golden State won, but time will tell. That's all I got so far. 7:02.
That's wisdom.
Listen, I think it's good for both. I think by the time this transpired and everything happened, the Heat just had to get off and right, and there really wasn't a market for Jimmy Butler. Like I think everything that he created, it kind of hurt him in a way, but then also ultimately he ended up kind of winning this. If there's a winner of the whole beef, I think Jimmy Butler won it, right? He gets the long-term deal for $60 million. He gets a raise.
Oh, heck yeah.
He goes to a new situation playing with, Steph Curry and playing with the championship organization where, let's not get it twisted, Jimmy has caused a scene here down in Miami, but he's going to be on his best behavior. He is going to figure out how to fit in with this group. So I do think Golden State won. They didn't have to give up much. They kept their core. They kept Kuminga, Pods, Moody. They didn't have to give up any of that. Wiggins has been solid. Kyle Anderson's been solid. They talked about how deep their team is, but they could afford to lose those guys to bring in a Jimmy Butler type of talent. So I love they brought him in. That player option in his new deal is going to get a little dicey if he goes down this road again.
Oh, God.
Where it's kind of scary for the organization. But let's also not forget Mike Dunleavy Jr., the GM of the Bulls, played with Jimmy Butler in Chicago. So there's history there. There's a relationship there, kind of like Luka and J.J. Redick in Dallas. They played together. So there is some sort of friendship and respect there on a business and professional level so far. So we'll see.
And on the basketball side of it, the Golden State Warriors, they struggled in the half court. Now you get a guy that comes in when things are stagnant, when teams are doubling Steph, they're face guarding him, this and that. You can throw him the ball. He can post up. He can face up. He can get you to the free throw line, give you a lot of different options in the half court basketball. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this mesh. At first, I didn't love it because I'm used to seeing the Golden State Warriors play a certain style of basketball, an up-tempo style of play. Not really a half-court team unless you're putting the ball in Steph Curry's hands. So I was a little weirded out about it at first. But then once I seen everything and it settled down, I thought Jimmy Butler is going to be somebody that can add value to this Golden State team.
You mentioned the player option, and sort of jokingly, I do feel like we might end up having a bad case of deja vu here in a minute, but the precedent of what has gone down, right? And it's not to say that anyone's going to look at this and think, I'm going to do the exact same thing, but what he did was basically throw a bit of a tantrum, not go to work, get paid, get a raise. And so I'm wondering, guys, are we concerned at all, Chandler, about people thinking, all right, this is the way to do things? And by the way, note to self, maybe this is the way for all of us to do things, but go on.
I think it's great for the players. You just saw a player who was nothing but loyal to an organization get absolutely thrown under the bus and traded in full discretion with Luka. So they got a win for the front office for what Nico did. This is a win for the players because ultimately he got what he wanted. He wasn't happy in Miami, and if you're good enough and you're big enough a name where you can still be productive like a Jimmy Butler can be, you're gonna get your way. You're gonna get what you want. So this did work out. I don't think professionally, obviously, this isn't the way you want to carry yourself. You don't want to handle this. And maybe one day Jimmy will tell us exactly what happened to lead him to all this negative vibe and negative energy in Miami. But Yeah, he's definitely set the foundation for these other star players that if push comes to shove, it is a players' league still. I will sit out. I will not re-sign with you, and you're going to do what I want. And it's crazy because Pat Riley, I didn't think would be the guy to give in, but like I said, it wasn't really come down to the last day of the trade deadline. There wasn't really a market for him, and he did get back Andrew Wiggins, who's 29 years old. He's 6 years younger than Jimmy. He can still play at a high level. He fits that culture. So does Kyle Anderson. Schroeder somehow got traded to his 8th team in 5 years, so he's just getting tossed around. But yeah, I think it's you create a distraction like this. If you're a big enough name, it sets the foundation for other players to maybe do this.
You know what, Schroeder? I don't know what his marketing ideas are, but he should be doing things for like luggage, Airbnb, VRBO. Like if his people aren't on that, you're missing out because there's something funny to be done here. No, it is, and
No.
you know, it's not a bad thing.
Beadle.
He's going month to month renting, I'd imagine. I don't think he's buying cribs in all these places.
What are we talking about? We do a Ramoa ad campaign, very nice luggage.
Great
you do
luggage.
some sort of VRB thing. Hello. I know what I'm talking about. By the way, Warriors are 11th in the West right now. I do find it interesting that their odds to win a championship did get basically cut in half. They went from plus 9,000 to plus 4,500. But I got to be honest, Chandler, are they legitimate contenders now?
No, they're not, but they did get better. And I think when you're a team like this, it just gives them hope. It's just with everything else, it's a fresh face. It's something to look forward to. It's something that you can kind of start mixing in and doing different rotations. And again, Jimmy Butler is a hell of a player, and he has proven to be, when he's healthy, a top 10, top 15 player. And he's great in the playoffs. He's always been tough. He always defends, so he's going to fit this culture. And I got to imagine he's going to blend in with the Draymond Greens, with the Steph Curry. But championship team, I don't think so. Now, when you look at the standings right now and you see the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns are the two teams above them in the play-in position, I do think they're better off than those two teams. And then once you get this Warriors team fully healthy in a play-in situation, I think anything can happen and they can find their way into the playoffs. But I think long-term, just getting this done and knowing that he's with you for at least a year or two, I think that just makes them better off. And yeah, I think he's a better basketball player. I think he fits better than Andrew Wiggins, but to me, I don't think this is the Warriors are a championship team now. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I say no because I'm looking at the standings here. Outside of Phoenix, who's had their concerns, I feel like Sac got better when you added Zach LaVine. I feel like Dallas is going to get better when you add Anthony
Valanciunas. Yeah, Kings.
Dallas and Anthony Davis. Like, there are teams that are in front of them. They're not going to let up. I think Minnesota comes out of the All-Star break playing better basketball. I think they start to figure it out. The Clippers start to figure it out. The Lakers are starting to figure it out. Lakers are rolling, by the way, right now. And so when you have all of these teams that's in front of them, I don't see a highway where they get past some of these teams when it comes down to the nitty-gritty. But like I said, we'll see. Jimmy, he's going to give him something. He's going to give him something in the half court. Obviously, Steph Curry is who he is. A lot of these teams, I don't think they're done willing and dealing, but I just don't think they get themselves in a position past some of these other teams that got clearly better than they did.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I'm not even going to say it. It doesn't need to be said out loud. Guys, we already know that he didn't want to be there, right? So Miami was sort of like do something or lose him for nothing type situation. And it's gone through so many what we thought was going to happen from the beginning of this, Lou. Best case scenario for Miami. Was this it?
It was. I think they got some really good pieces, especially for a team that was comfortable where they stood already with the talent that they had. They got a first-time All-Star and Tyler Hero leading the charge. Bam Adebayo. These are good guys. These are guys that can play basketball. And then once you add a Kyle Anderson and Andrew Wiggins, guys that you can plug in and play, guys that has kept their noses clean, that's going to buy into this heat culture thing that we keep talking about. I think these are the right type of guys. These are the right personalities that you add to your locker room that adds value. So I think that, that the Miami Heat, they should be happy in return what they got. I thought they were going to get a bigger name guy, no disrespect to the guys that were traded there. But collectively for the team, I think that they're happy with what they had.
Yeah, and I'd rather this than just a swap for Brad Beal and Phoenix. And now if you're Wiggins, if you're Kyle Anderson, you have to be looking forward. They're right in the thick of things. They are the 6th seed. They're, 3 games out of home court advantage right now in the Eastern Conference. So, again, when you have a rising star like Tyler Hero, you have a stud with Bam that plays on both sides of the ball, if I'm these two guys, I'm also excited, looking for a fresh start, seeing what this Heat culture is all about, playing for a top 3 coach with Spo. So they have a lot to look forward to, too. And when Andrew Wiggins, not forget how good he was in Golden State for that championship run. He was arguably their second best player on their last championship run. So he still has a lot to give. And he's only 29 years old. So I like it. And again, I think this is better than just letting Jimmy walk and keep this distraction for the rest of the year. So I do like it, but the viral video of the fans saying, like, telling Kevin Love that him saying we fleeced him, I don't see that. I think Golden State won this trade, but I think it's pretty even.
Fleece is a strong word there. Guys, there's also Lakers made some more moves. They finally got a center.